welcome back to Ask Paul. And there's a couple of news items that I wanted to bring up that have been a little different than we've had before. The first one is several of you have asked that we start shooting in 4K. God only knows why you want to see my mug in 4K. But you got it. So we're doing everything in 4K. And the second one was the aerial shot at the end of these videos of everybody waving from PS Audio. How do we get that? So behind me, which you can't really see because the camera's on a tripod, is from, look at this bad boy. So this is the drone that we bought, and it's called a DJI Phantom. And it's got just a wonderful little camera on it. You can see the camera right there, and it's got a gimbal for those of you who are geeks like me. And it's all remote controlled, so it's a pretty cool drone. And like my Tesla coil that a number of you have seen in some of the videos, I used the video medium as an excuse to actually get one of those toys. I got my Tesla coil for the Coal to Coltrane video, and I got the DJI Phantom drone for these videos, and now it just sits up there and looks at me. So, okay, let's see. One last thing. Sorry. See my shirt? So a lot of you said, hey, you seem to be wearing the same shirt all the time. Indeed, I sit down and I record a bunch of these, and then I chop them up and edit them and as time allows. And so that's why I always had the same shirt on. Now, I can still do that and still have the same shirt, but you'll never know because it's an official shirt. All right, Tim in California asks, why do some audio hobbyists refer to the wall in front of their listening position as the back wall? I'd be one of those. Yes, it is in back of the speakers, but from where is the perspective being stated? It seems obvious to me everything we hear and see is based on the listener's position. Well, Tim, clearly I am one of those, and I'm trying my best to correct it to say it's the front wall being the one in front of me. And I think that seems to be the proper way to say it, but I've always thought of it as the back wall because it's the wall in back of the loudspeakers. So maybe that's just my mental thought process. I don't know, but I am trying to change it so it's the front wall, the wall in front of me. But that brings up a good point because in stereo systems, we always have to think in terms of the room and the setup and the position that we are in relative to the speakers and in the room. Obviously, where your speakers are face you, and you, the listener, face the speakers and face that wall. So more than just terminology, I think it's important that when we think about speakers in a room, we consider all the ramifications of what we're trying to achieve and where we're trying to get. For example, my friend Arnie has the most marvelous hi-fi system I've ever heard, Arnie Nudell from Infinity, who will be designing our loudspeakers, which I'm pretty excited about. And in his room, I don't think I've ever heard anything quite so alive. As you sit and listen to music coming out of his speakers, there's a soundstage that is unfettered by any walls, by anything. And you don't even need to close your eyes to see this soundstage that comes from the loudspeaker plane all the way to what I used to call the back wall, but we'll now call the front wall, and extending to the sides, airy, open, just unbelievable. Now, Arnie gets that through a series of means. One, the way he designs his loudspeakers and crossovers and his skill in setup of equipment. But two, Arnie's always had a fairly big room, a fairly open large room. And the larger the room that you have, the easier time you're going to have of freeing the sound from your loudspeakers. In many times, even in my case, where I've got not a small room, but a medium-sized room, the soundstage is kind of trapped between the front wall and the back of the speakers, and it extends out. Sometimes I get enough depth that I can see it going beyond the front wall. It's going to be hard to get used to that term. But in general, if you have an open area and you're lucky enough to have tall ceilings and a wide space, you'll get this amazing soundstage that few of us are lucky enough to get. But that's my thoughts on that. So thanks for watching. See you next time.